This episode is brought to you by Marshalls, where you never have to compromise between quality and price. The buyers at Marshalls hustle hard, working to bring you great deals on brand name and designer pieces. Because Marshalls believes everyone deserves access to the good stuff. Visit a Marshalls store near you or shop online at marshalls.com.
But you know, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. If one only remembers to turn on the light.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
The ones that love us never really leave us.
Working hard is important, but there's something that matters: believing in yourself. If they can do it, why not us?
Hey everyone, welcome to Hogwarts, a podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hogwarts, a podcast. We are covering Act 2, Scenes 1 through 6 today. So we're beginning Act 2 of this wonderful stage play. Elizabeth is back with us.
Hey everyone.
It's a lot of scenes, 1 through 6. That's a lot of scenes.
A lot of scenes, but some of them are very short.
Some of them are very short. So we are actually going to jump right into this episode. No shout-outs today. But if you'd like to leave a comment, be sure to reach out to us via any of our socials. You can reach out to us on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all by reaching out to us at HogwartsAPod. You can also leave a comment on Spotify if you're listening to us on that platform. That platform also has polls that you can participate in. So we always like hearing what you guys have to say. So please give us that feedback. Let us know what you guys are thinking of Cursed Child.
Dan checks them regularly.
I really do. I follow them quite regularly. So I'm very interested in everything that our listeners have to say.
Agreed.
On Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So let's get into Act 2, Scene 1. And we are at Privet Drive in the cupboard under the stairs.
Back to where it began.
However, this is a dream.
Yeah.
We get Harry and Petunia in this scene. Petunia yells at the young Harry Potter to do his chores, saying, "We hoped we would improve you. We only really have ourselves to blame that you're such a disappointment." So even for the Dursleys, this seems like a little bit of more of an intense direct attack, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh.
Pretty harsh.
We know the Dursleys are not exactly like parents of the year, at least towards Harry, but she was going on like, "Those pots that you clean, they're still greasy. I see the grease still. Go wash them again." It's like, oh, okay, sorry that I missed one single spot, if it's even actually there.
Harry eventually gets up, but there's a wet spot on his pants, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he says that he's had a nightmare of what he thinks to be his parents dying. Petunia reiterates that his parents died in a car crash, not whatever scene he just explained seeing.
Yeah, because he was saying he thought he'd heard what we know to actually be Avada Kedavra, and he was like, it was like a abracadabra, it was something or other, and there was a snake hissing, I think. Clearly this is a very young Harry if he's wetting the bed after a nightmare, and it's still those early stages of the memory of his parents' death.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very, very young scene. Probably an embarrassing. We don't know if this actually happened or not, but I could see it happening.
I could see it happening on maybe a particularly bad day for Petunia. Mm-hmm. Again, she doesn't really strike me as the outwardly aggressive of the two parents.
More passive-aggressive?
More passive-aggressive.
Uh-huh.
Vernon seems to be the more, like, in-your-face, I'm going to let you know about this kind of style, I guess.
Yeah.
But the dream eventually shifts into a scene with Albus, Harry's child, Albus Severus. And he hears Parseltongue from the surrounding area in Voldy's voice, which is saying he's coming. Harry Potter.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. So it's a interesting kind of scene.
I mean, it was already a nightmare to have to dream about Aunt Petunia yelling at you and wetting the bed. But having it change to Voldemort and seeing your son there, who you are having a fight with, kind of, right now, bigger nightmare.
Yeah. It's Albus Severus in a setting of trees. Mm-hmm. And you hear Voldy's voice over the top of it. So it's ominous.
Very ominous.
I don't think you could take this as a good omen. So.
It's kind of a little bit like a divination dream, you know?
Could be.
Yeah.
So we transition now into Act 2, Scene 2, and we are at Harry and Ginny Potter's house. And we are particularly on a staircase, which is super random, but okay. And this scene is super short, and it's essentially Harry telling Ginny of the dream. Mm-hmm. He notes that Albus was wearing Durmstrang robes in the dream, which strikes Ginny as odd. And Harry ends the scene seeming to know where Albus is.
It's interesting that the comment about the Durmstrang robes is what gives him an idea of where Albus is. I don't know if I would necessarily put trees together with the robes and be like, aha, I know where to look, you know?
Durmstrang is an odd clue, for sure.
Because he said that Albus was wearing red, and obviously Harry would know what the robes look like. He saw them on Crumb and everyone else. But yeah, it's just an interesting detail to hint to where Albus could potentially be.
I'm just happy that after this somewhat nightmare-ish dream, that Harry didn't wake up and also have a
what the hell? That'd be so sad.
Ginny would be like, what is going on?
Oh, poor Harry. That'd be bad. We also probably shouldn't skate over the fact that Ginny said she was also awake. Like, Harry woke up from the dream, but Ginny was already awake and just kind of waiting for an owl to be like, please tell me you have found my son. Albus is out there somewhere. Someone please find him for me. So,
yeah, both parents are quite stressed.
Yeah.
We now, very quickly, transition into Act 2, Scene 3. Yes, we are already into Scene 3, and we're not even 10 minutes into this episode yet.
Yeah, when you're watching this on stage, I feel like it does shift so quickly that it's almost a little jarring.
It's fluid.
At first. It's very fluid, but if you're not paying attention, you're going to get lost as to where you actually are supposed to be.
So, Scene 3 takes place in Hogwarts, specifically in the headmistress's office. So the scene features Harry and Ginny in McGonagall's office, and Harry's telling McGonagall of his dream, essentially, and his guess that the kids are actually in the Forbidden Forest. McGonagall is like, are you sure? How can you really, be sure that this is a thing? All right, I guess you're Harry Potter. You've been right this entire time, I suppose, so I'll believe you. But can I offer Neville? Can I offer Professor Longbottom as some help in the forest?
It's such a name drop for the fans.
It's a name drop. It's a reminder to let you know that Neville is working at Hogwarts. I want to say that if Neville got, some summons in the middle of the night, he'd be there in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, especially for Harry.
He'd be there in a heartbeat. And I think he'd like a little bit of the, don't get me wrong, I think he has his hands full with a bunch of 14-year-olds in herbology. Don't get me wrong. But I think he'd like a little bit of the shakeup and maybe get back to some action.
I did find it an interesting offer, though, because, the assumption of you need Neville's help would be oh, there's some dangerous plant out there for you to deal with. And it's I know the Forbidden Forest is forbidden for a reason, but I don't know how many plants there are in there that could be potentially coming in their way.
Maybe. I think at this point also Neville might be the most combat-ready professor.
That's true.
Still at Hogwarts.
Maybe he's in charge of the dueling club now.
Possibly. Well, better him than Lockhart. So, Which, think about that being said in book 1. But anyway, I digress. Hermione and Ron burst into the office. Hermione first, and Ron follows a little after. Ron enters the room after Hermione because he took a detour to the kitchens in Hogwarts, which should surprise literally no one.
Hermione, saw Ron yank a greasy, napkin from around his shirt collar. He flat out tucked it in and was like, let me have a quick feast. If you don't mind, I'm a little famished. Oh, I also am supposed to be up in the headmistress's office. Yeah, but another, treacle tart.
Regardless, Draco then arrives. So now you got all the participants basically in this office.
Which confused McGonagall at first, because she's like, why are people in my office? And Ginny said she put out an emergency edition of the Daily Prophet asking for volunteers to, come help find the kids.
Well, particularly Hermione's arrival seems to throw McGonagall the most, because...
Yeah. Minister of Magic suddenly in my office.
Right.
Whoa, hello.
Also, that must be just a surreal scene to witness, because you have Hermione, a former student, bursting into Professor McGonagall's office, who's now not Professor McGonagall, it's Headmistress McGonagall, addressing her former student as Minister.
Yeah.
This must be a surreal scene for them to just, take in for a second.
It's surreal in general just to talk to old students, because I still see them as the little 14-year-old selves sitting in desks and,
It begs the question, around. When Fudge became Minister for Magic, did Dumbledore just go, oh, this kid. This kid could not figure out this stupid transfiguration thing or whatever.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
What high hopes for our future generations.
Just begs the question. Anyway, so Draco arrives, and he immediately apologizes to Minerva for getting some soot on the floor. And McGonagall comes back with a pretty funny line of well, I guess I shouldn't have a chimney.
Yeah.
I guess it's my fault. My bad. But after they all come together, they all depart together for the Forbidden Forest. And that ends Act 2, Scene 3.
Yeah, it's boom, boom, boom so fast.
It's a whirlwind. We do get some bigger scenes coming up, so fret not. We will continue into Act 2, Scene 4.
I will say, I guess, with these first 3 scenes, it is interesting to see how quickly they act on Harry's dreams. I know Hermione in Act 1 was having that group meeting or town council or whatever we decided it was, and was Harry's having dreams. Here it's, I had a dream, I have my hunch from the dream, I'm going to act on it immediately because we are going to find my son now. And with Harry, it's nice to see Harry with a purpose, because I feel when Harry doesn't have a purpose, he kind of flounders. And here it's you have an action plan, go to it.
He's got resources now, too.
Yeah.
So
it's that old, Harry Potter of his Hogwarts years coming out in him.
It's obviously, like you said, a very different setup, because Harry's got resources and people are taking his word as law, essentially. And then, why or how could we possibly doubt you?
And it's a rescue mission for someone who put themselves into that situation. Doesn't necessarily want to be rescued.
It's also 2 active students at Hogwarts. So it makes sense for Hogwarts to be involved in this search, because technically it happened on the train going to Hogwarts.
Which I would consider school grounds.
There's some culpability here, or some, I guess, responsibility that they might feel towards finding these kids.
Yeah.
They have relationships. These kids have already spent years at the school.
Yeah.
So there are relationships built here, even amongst, the professors with them. So there's some level of connection there, I suppose. Mm-hmm. We are going to plow on into Act 2, Scene 4. And we find ourselves on the edge of the Forbidden Forest, and Albus and Delphi are having a moment practicing disarming spells
Which good, because Albus had said he couldn't get Expelliarmus. Everyone was comparing him to Harry for that. At this point, it's such a Potter move. So it's fun to see a Potter finally succeed at the Potter move.
Delphi is very complimentary of Albus through this process. Albus says that he's never been good at spells, which I feel like is odd. Mm-hmm. And, we've talked about spellcasting in general before, how it's verbiage, it's your literal actual wand movements, but we've also talked a bit about how just the confidence you might have might also play into the magic.
And your stress level. I mean, remember Harry trying to learn the summoning charm, and it was like, I'm stressed. Wonder why I can't figure this out. Albus has had a stressful time so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of external factors that I think, and we've also talked about the idea of magic being its own character with a little bit of an identity and a personality almost. Mm-hmm. And I think this might be another example of it just having kind of a mind of its own.
It's good that he finally gets it, though. It's a very important spell to know, as Harry has many times proven.
It's interesting that Delphi is the one to get this out of him. It means he must have some sort of comfort level with her.
And probably respect, too. I mean, she is a bit older than them, but they're still treating her like, I can be comfortable with you. You're like a friend.
I feel like it almost is like a Hermione-Harry type of thing.
Yeah.
If Hermione wasn't the smartest witch of her age, but actually was like maybe a 6th or 7th year, and Harry was still like a 4th year.
Yeah, like an older sister.
Kinda, yeah. Anyway, Scorpius appears, and he notes that part of him likes seeing Albus talking to a girl, and part of him doesn't like it at all.
A little bit of jealousy there. I don't know if it's because Albus is making another friend and it's like, well, he's my friend. He's my best friend. Or if they're even trying to hint at potential, like, a romantic thing going on here. Obviously in very, very, very early stages. But it is interesting that they do specify that comment.
Yeah, I think they specify it and they don't specify it at all. Like, they leave it open
to interpretation.
Yeah. Is this a friend being jealous of another friend getting attention from another person? Mm-hmm. Or is he starting to be like, hey, wait, I don't love that he's talking to a girl. Mm-hmm. This could be threatening to me as a potential romantic option.
Right. And even if you don't want to take it as romantic, it could still be like, oh, I could be replaced as the best friend in his life who helps him out with things. Because here's Delphi helping him with a charm that Albus hasn't been able to get. And when he finally gets it, it's like, yeah, oh my gosh, Delphi, thank you, you're the best. And it's like, oh, but I want you to think I'm the best friend, Like, it is definitely a realistic teenage emotion, I think.
Yeah, Albus does specifically state that he wants Delphi to stick around as both teacher and as a friend. Mm-hmm. And Delphi's like, great! Wizzo! Scorpius is like, what is Wizzo? Dan is like, what is Wizzo? What is that?
Old-timey slang that has come back around, I guess?
What in the world is that?
Wizzo! We should start saying that. I do like that it also said in the comments how Scorpius, when he tries to join in on their conversation, he joins in with like excitement, but it's also kind of like, well, he just had that jealous moment, so now it's, I want to be part of this conversation too, guys. I'm here. Pay attention to me too, right? Because I'm important. And I understand that feeling as well.
Well, he does have something important to say. He's found a way into the school. Let's backtrack a second. They are trying to save Cedric Diggory.
Right.
Like, that's the whole purpose of this plan.
Right.
And Albus says that the secret to this plan is saving Cedric by not letting him win the Triwizard Tournament. That's their game plan.
So we're going to sabotage to save.
So he asks, generally, the other two people, Delphi and Scorpius, how Cedric distracted the dragon in the first task. And Delphi excitedly raises her hand and answers by transfiguring a stone into a dog. So Albus and Delphi seem to be getting along quite well.
So it seems like the plan is like, okay, we're going to go back and stop him from being able to get past the dragon. And while overall I don't love this whole plan of let's go save Cedric, I feel like there's a lot of flaws to it. I do like the fact that they're going back to the first task instead of straight to the third. Because I feel like if you go straight to the third and you mess it up, then it's like, well, that was your one shot. You can't really redo it again when your past selves are now time traveled back, and then you time travel back again. There's like too many variables there. So it's nice that they have room to mess up and then try again.
It's an interesting plan, and I do like revisiting. As a fan of the book Goblet of Fire, and as a fan of the Triwizard Tournament, and as a fan of Cedric Diggory, I really enjoy that, A, Cedric Diggory has come back into this story. B, I love that they've brought the Triwizard Tournament back into this story. And I think it's a fascinating way to kind of reincorporate an old story in a new way.
Yeah.
Scorpius, however, chips in on this delighted retelling of Cedric's triumphs in the first task. And he says, hey, look, I got 2 points. And Delphi's like, you have 2 points a lot. You don't have 1 point, you don't have 3 points. You always have 2 points, but that's okay. What are they? Scorpius says, number 1, the dragon won't kill him, right? Like, if we screw this up for Cedric, could we kill him by, just throwing him to a dragon?
I mean, like, if dragon fire could shoot out and accidentally kill Cedric, then it's like, ooh.
If we screw up his game plan...
it could mess him up.
Yeah. He could fumble, he could mess up in a way that would get him killed.
I feel like Scorpius right now is, to make the comparison to the Golden Trio, he's like the Hermione. Because it's like, hey, here are things that we should think about, and these are potential flaws in the plan. Which I guess is also a little bit Ron, too. Ron also pointed out the flaws in plans sometimes.
Scorpius is a little book smart, though, so it fits the Hermione comparison.
And just being like, did you two, I know you two are rushing it with this plan right now. Let's stop and think about the logistics.
Yeah.
Might be smart to do.
So Delphi responds to this point by saying that Hogwarts won't let damage be done to a champion. Come on! To which I say, the whole reason you're doing this is because a champion died during the tournament. That's an insane comment to make, because you're doing this because one of them was harmed. Like, what are we talking about? Terrible response.
Small details.
Small details. Scorpius, point number 2. He questions whether they can return from the past. So, if they're going back that far in the past, how exactly are they supposed to return to the present?
I agree with Scorpius. I feel like that is such a big risk. And he asked Delphi, can we maybe practice first? Could we do, an hour? Mm-hmm. I think that would be a very smart thing to do. I would hate to be stuck, 30 years in the past or so? Oh my gosh, no thank you.
I think it's a very astute question. Uh-huh. But Delphi's like, nope, no time to practice for an hour. We got to do this.
How do we have no time? We have a time turner.
Delphi seems to be in a little bit of a rush.
Yeah, she wants this done as fast as possible.
So she begins to pull out Durmstrang robes, which she argues will disguise them better as students.
Yeah, she said, people would know the Hogwarts students, so they couldn't dress up in, random Slytherin robes. But the Hogwarts students wouldn't know the Durmstrang students, so best to wear one of those uniforms.
Did Delphi just stitch these robes up overnight, or
Yeah, who has random Durmstrang robes
right
in their back pocket? I don't know.
She says Delphi, will hang out in the background of this whole thing and just let it play out and see how Albus and Scorpius do.
Yeah, because she's too old to dress up like a student.
And Scorpius thinks for a second and is like, I don't think you should come. Like, at all. And Delphi's a little offended by this. And Albus speaks up and says, actually, I agree. I think you're more of a potential wild card and a liability that we can't afford, especially if you can't blend in and there's no excuse for you being there and there's a lot of question marks. Maybe you shouldn't come.
I agree with the boys here because I feel like we've seen dealing with time travel is very tricky business. And if one person sees you and questions why you're there, that can ruin so many things. So don't do the risk of 3 people when you can accomplish it with 2.
Yeah, the less variables you can have in something, I generally feel the better. So Delphi eventually, reluctantly, agrees, but she does give them a great pep talk. And I'll read a little bit of it here for you. Then go, but just know this. Today, you get the opportunity few are given. Today, you get to change history. To change time itself. But more than all that, today, you get to have the chance to give an old man his son back. Whew! Pep talk as she reluctantly goes away.
And steps aside.
That's not all, though. She does leave Albus with a kiss on his cheeks. When Delphi leaves to go in deeper into the forest to hide herself, Scorpius like, "Hey, did you know that? Did you notice? Did you pick up on?
No love for the Malfoy?
She didn't kiss my cheeks. She just kissed you."
Yeah.
And also points out that Albus has flushed a little bit. He's got a little bit of red. And he's also a little bit pale. But a little bit of red in that paleness. So it's an interesting kind of breakdown here as we get right up to the edge of them doing this.
It is interesting how much of a fuss Delphi was trying to put forth about how she needs to come to. I mean, she did say, Cedric was my cousin, and I should be there. And also, I know how to work the time turner. And the other 2 were like, well, you showed us, so we also know how to. And I understand her wanting to go just to try to,
have some semblance of control over it.
Yeah, make sure it goes correct.
Yeah.
But
no, I don't blame her for wanting to go,
I don't blame her for that, but I do also wonder if it's a little suspicious for her wanting to go back so badly, because if you do want it to succeed, having, like you said, 3 people as opposed to 2 adds extra factors of things that could go wrong. So I don't know if it was she wants to be there for alternative reasons, or is just, like you said, be a control freak and make sure you can supervise, which maybe they do need. They are, 14, 15, 16 years old now? They definitely need the
supervision. If I'm Delphi right now walking back into the Forbidden Forest, I'm thinking to myself, they ain't going to get this done. They're going to mess up, and they're probably going to mess up in a big way.
Let's hope not.
Well, we'll find out. Right now, though, we'll take a little break, and we will be back with scenes 5 and 6 in a bit. Before we get to our break sound, I'd like to acknowledge our friend Andy, who helps us produce our intros and our break sounds. If you want to hear more of Andy's work and like Formula One racing, check out the Outlap F1 podcast. It's your one-stop shop for Formula One news, insights, race previews, and reviews. You can find them wherever you listen to podcasts, and they even have a YouTube page. So check out Andy, Cody, John, James, and Deanna, and join them on the Outlap.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
I love magic.
All right, so we are back with part 2 of this episode, and we are covering Act 2, Scene 5, which takes place in the Forbidden Forest. This time, however, it's a group of people searching through the forest, and Harry ends up getting the furthest, getting the deepest into the forest.
Separated from the others.
Separated from the larger group that's all there to search for the two kids. And Harry runs into a familiar face.
Not a friendly face, though.
Not a friendly face, no. Harry ends up meeting Bane, the centaur. Bane has been a repeating character in the series. He's popped up at different points.
Since book 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bane was one of the individuals who was a stickler for centaur culture.
Yes.
And he wanted to maintain that space, that culture, that privacy.
Away from the wizarding world.
Bane says that Harry is trespassing. And Harry says, hey, look, we're not enemies. We're good. I've never had issues or been disrespectful to centaurs. You fought bravely, and I fought beside you at the Battle of Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. Really quickly, I think this might be the most clever Harry Potter has ever been.
Why do you say that?
Because he could very easily, if he's any lesser of an individual, he could very easily flip this and say, you fought alongside me at the Battle of Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. Which is true. Centaurs helped Harry win that fight.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He doesn't say that. He says, you fought bravely. I fought beside you.
That is smart.
He flips it because he's playing to the centaur pride. He's playing to the centaur's sense of, we're brave, we're strong, we're equal to, if not better, than humans, than witches and wizards. He's playing to that there. It's, to me, really clever from Harry.
Well, in general, it's a psychology trick. If you're having an argument with somebody,
Yeah.
the way to get someone to, like, stop being so defensive and listen to you is to use, like, I statements as opposed to you, instead of being like, you know, you make me angry. It's like, I get angry when something happens, not when you do this to me, like, you upset me. So I think it is a good way of, getting Bane a little bit less on the defensive mode and more of a, I will hear you out for a little bit, Harry Potter mode.
Yeah. He's buttering him up a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think really, really good point from Harry. Bane responds to this by saying, I did my part. I did my part for my herd and for our honor. And he goes on to say this is still centaur territory. If you're on the land without permission, then you are trespassing and you are an enemy. Mm-hmm. I have some thoughts on this too, okay? So first thought that I have on this response from Bane. I did my part for my herd and our honor. So he's referring to, I did my part in the Battle of Hogwarts.
Right. Helping out.
To protect the herd, because obviously Death Eaters and Voldy don't have any kind of concern for centaurs, especially when they opted to stay neutral.
Yeah, they walked by them towards the end.
And they were very disrespectful.
Yeah.
They were shouting insults. And Bane says, our honor. For our honor. Who else was shouting at the centaurs as that procession walked by? Hagrid. And what did Hagrid call the group of centaurs? Cowards.
Yeah.
He called them cowards for standing by and letting this happen.
I still stand by my previous thought about that scene, though, that the centaurs were able to divine from the stars about when the correct time to act was happening. I feel like Bane saying that, you know, I did what I did for the honor and for the centaurs is like, well, if the whole herd thinks this is the correct action to take, I'm going to stand with my brothers and fight alongside them. And it was in protection of the forest. It also did happen to protect the wizarding world, but as he then also says how he doesn't want another war to be coming, makes sense that back then he wanted to help stop the war because that's what the rest of them decided that they needed to do.
We'll get into some of his other statements that he makes because they are very interesting. And they do play to what you're saying with the centaurs divining what might have happened at the Battle of Hogwarts. I still contend, though, that centaurs and the centaurs that we've seen teach divination would admit this. Divination is not precise.
No. But I feel like the centaurs, if they're looking at the future and trying to divine the future, they're probably trying to divine what they themselves are going to be doing in the future or how they personally would be affected. I don't know if they care so much about what happens to the humans or not, but I think they would see the way that the battle had been going and recognize, like, okay, the bad guys, quote unquote, seem to have won, so maybe this is the time, the moment for us to act. And I agree, I think Hagrid's comment probably did spur it, but I don't know if that was necessarily the only action that made them act. I do agree they're obviously very prideful creatures and recognize that they have intelligence that the wizarding world has, for the most part, ignored or tried to insult.
On a lighter note, I just want to point out another thing here that Bane says in this little blurb. He says, "This is still Centaur's territory. If you're on our land without permission, then you're an enemy." Mm-hmm. This idea of asking permission, who do they ask permission from? Is this a ministry envoy that's specifically appointed to the centaurs? Is a centaur now afforded a seat at the ministry?
Maybe you're supposed to send an owl.
Are you sending an owl? Are you sending some other messenger? Or does some unfortunate soul have to walk in there as the messenger and be like, "Hey guys,
I want to ask permission"?
Because if that's the case, why can't Harry just be here like, "Hey, look, you're the first centaur I've run across. Can I just have permission to enter your hallowed lands?"
Yeah, he could be the
look
ministry
for my son.
He could be the ministry envoy and like come over and be asking.
Well,
that.
he's more than a ministry envoy. He's
yeah, but like that could be the role that he could be doing right now is coming to ask for permission.
Yeah, couldn't he spin it that way as well and being like, "Hey, look, you know me. You're familiar with me. I'm a high-ranking member of the Ministry of Magic. I'm asking for your blessing to walk through your lands in a purpose of searching for a young boy." I just like the idea of them having to ask permission, which is fine, and that makes a lot of sense. It's just, how do you go about doing that exactly?
My guess would be owl. Owl would probably be the easiest. They would respect an owl more than they would a human being.
Maybe. So, ultimately, Harry ends up asking for Bane's help in searching for Albus, which I think is a little bit of a bold move, but does so anyway.
What I think is funny is Bane asked, "Oh, is Albus like on our land?" And he's like, "I think so." He's like, "Then he's stupid too."
He literally does say that.
He literally does say it, quote, quote, he's stupid. No holding back.
So, Bane does drop some knowledge here after Harry asks for his help. Bane says that he has seen Albus in the stars and in the movements of the stars. And Albus seems to be surrounded by a dangerous black cloud. Bane can't say where or how to find Albus, but he can say that the black cloud could endanger us all. You will find your son again, but maybe lose him forever.
Which I can imagine as a parent, that is one of the most terrifying things you could possibly hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, and thank goodness Hermione is not in the vicinity.
Oh, that'd be horrible. Reaction.
Because this is essentially divination.
This is divination.
And with this divination, he provides some answers, you think, and he provides a whole lot of vague nothingness.
Yeah.
That doesn't answer anything and actually causes more questions to want to be asked.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of vague in that.
Hermione would be so bad at this. She would come and she would insult them, and then he'd be
I don't know about insult.
I think she
Not
would.
intentionally.
Not intentionally, but I think they'd make some kind of divination comment, and she'd start scoffing and be like, this again? And it would just be
Maybe.
like, oh,
This would not
don't do
be
that.
her area of diplomacy, for
Yeah,
sure.
no,
Yes.
she'd be bad.
Harry is much better in this spot than Hermione, which how many times have we said that in the series? Bane ultimately leaves,
Very quickly.
and Harry is alone again in the Forbidden Forest, and he thus continues his search. Although a little bit more frantically.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, like, if you're told there's a black cloud that's coming closer and closer around your son, and you might lose him forever, like, we don't know if that means lost forever, as in, like, he's going to die. It could be he's lost forever in time, since we know he is going with a time turner. Or it could be, like, lost forever, as in, like, he severs the relationship and excommunicates himself from the Potter family. Like, there's a whole gauntlet of things that this could mean, and if you're the parent, you're probably thinking through all of them and freaking out.
You know what I love about Bane here? He plays it very, very cool, and he plays it like he knows all the answers. Playing the role of, I know all. I don't think he actually knows all.
No, I don't think he does either.
That's my thing. I think he's playing the part of an all-knowing centaur. Here's the image that I want to portray.
Yeah.
But he gave a lot of vague, because I don't think he has hard answers. Yes, he might see Albus in the movement of the stars. That might be true. And he might see some danger surrounding him. That also might be true. Nothing more specific than that has been said, though.
Well, I think it aligns with, like, what Ferenz used to say when he was teaching divination. It was like,
Yeah.
we can study the stars and we can see the vague outlines of things, and it's hard to know what to do when it comes to the future, because as we've seen with all the prophecies and time travel stuff, it's like little tiny things cause such massive ripples in time that it's really hard to predict.
And he also made the point, we like to think we're this all-knowing, wise species. Mm-hmm. The fact is, we also make mistakes.
Yeah.
We're also not perfect either.
Yeah. Which is why they were so weary of, like, Trelawney making these blunt predictions, because it was like,
You
that's
can't
not,
possibly. Yeah, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Although, she did hit on some things. So there's that.
Yeah.
But we now move on to Act 2, Scene 6, and we are on the edge of the Forbidden Forest. We have Albus and Scorpius now approaching Hogwarts, and we get Scorpius waxing a little poetic about the school that he currently attends.
Poetic and positively, too.
Yeah.
He's very positive with it.
So Scorpius says, "From the moment I first heard of it, I was desperate to go. I mean, Dad didn't like it much there, but even the way he described it. From the age of 10, I'd check the Daily Prophet first thing every morning, certain some sort of tragedy would have befallen it, certain I wouldn't be able to go." In response to that sincere comment about Hogwarts, Albus says, well, yeah, but it's too bad that Hogwarts is completely awful. And Scorpius responds with a very interesting comment, not for me. Mm-hmm. And with Scorpius saying that not for me comment, and everything that we've seen of Albus and Scorpius' time at Hogwarts, it has been miserable. They've commented on it themselves. We're loners, we're outcasts, no one likes us.
Right.
Everybody wants us to go away all the time. We know when we're not wanted because we have plenty of experience not being wanted.
Right.
And he says, no, it hasn't been an awful experience for me. All I wanted was to go and find a mate to cause mayhem with. Just like Harry did. Just like your father did. And I got his son. Mm-hmm. Like, how fortunate can I be? I look on myself as a fortunate person because I got what I wanted. I got a friend that I'm close with at the school that I've always wanted to go to. Mm-hmm. And it's such a positive outlook from Scorpius when you know he's feeling some depression sometimes, and you know he's feeling some anxiety sometimes.
I mean, when he lost his mother, he's been accused of being Voldemort's son. His father even is kind of like how did you become the way that you have become? So he has a lot going on, and yet he's still positive. And I really like that about Scorpius, that even though Albus has such a negative view on the school, and I know it's based on the experiences he had there, Scorpius also has negative experiences and gets bullied, and yet he still looks at this place and he's like, to me, it symbolizes hope. I can get a friend here. I can, like, have adventures like Harry Potter once did with his pals. And I can get up to mayhem. That's kind of cool to get into a little bit of trouble. But to have him still enjoy it when Albus is so against it, I think that shows a lot about Scorpius. I like it.
It's a wonderful look for Scorpius, I think.
I also want to give him credit for speaking the truth to Albus and saying that he does enjoy it. Because I feel like so often at that age, when one person says they hate something, then all the other friends kind of feel obligated to also say that they hate it just to fit in, because nobody likes to stand out at that age. That's how you get picked on. So if it's, unpopular to like Quidditch, well, then everyone's going to pretend that they don't like Quidditch. But for him to be like, well, I like it. I like this place. I like coming here. It's like, that is a different kind of bravery that I think gets more associated with Gryffindor, but it's nice to see it come out in a Slytherin.
That's a great point. I like how Scorpius, though he's experienced a lot of the same things Albus has, chooses to look from a different viewpoint. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not saying he always does this. I'm sure there are some times when the bad stuff does get to him and overwhelm him.
Yeah.
And he probably does have a lot of the same complaints that Albus might have, but that's when they have each other and they can come to each other and kind of air out those frustrations and those emotions, and they have each other to kind of fall back on. And that's what Scorpius is saying. Like, look, I have someone to rely on. Mm-hmm. That's all I need. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm good.
I just wanted a friend and I found one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Ron now approaches, because I hear Ron's voice calling in the distance for Albus. And Albus says, hey, look, we got to go.
Now.
We have to go now. We're done talking about this.
Despite the irony of us having a time turner, we have run out of time.
Yep. So Albus grabs the time turner from Scorpius and presses it. At this point in time, we get the note that the stage begins to shift. A whoosh of light and a smash of noise. Time stops, turns over, and begins going backwards. Slow at first, and then speeds up.
I know I said last episode how I really, really enjoyed the effect of the bookcase. This was another effect that I thought was truly cool. It literally looked like the light was rippling, kind of like on water, but it was on the stage and it was like rippling through time. You could see it almost be the effect of going backwards. And every time it happened, because it does, like, this is the first time you see it, but in all future times that they do it, I feel like every single time I was just struck by how cool it was. It
was a very effective way of showing a time turner's effect.
Yeah, the magic of it.
Yeah, it was a really interesting way of doing it, and I think they pulled it off quite well. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. You've enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I have heard complaints about it.
Oh, what complaints?
The effect is like a full stage. It's like on a screen, mm-hmm. and they like project it somehow, or they have some lighting trick that makes like basically the whole stage seem like it's
like rippling
and warping. Well, apparently, some people do not like that, and it makes them nauseous. It gives them either like a vertigo type thing, or it gives them like literally some nauseous feelings. Uh-huh. So they have to like literally look away as that's happening.
Oh, okay.
So I've heard it's given some people some adverse reactions.
I imagine there were some warnings. I don't remember, because that was a while ago that we saw this play, but I imagine there were some like photosensitive, light sensitive warnings prior to going into the show.
I don't think it's a super common reaction to that effect, but I have heard that it has happened. So there is that. If you're planning on going to see the show,
Be aware of it.
be aware of it. And if you have gone and seen the show, let us know if you've liked that part or you have had some of those kind of reactions to it.
Yeah. I really did like it, I think, because I think the natural reaction people would have for showing time travel would be to make the actors kind of walk backwards, like do the scene that they just did backwards.
You could have them on like what Hamilton did.
That too.
So they had them on a rotating platform that's on the floor of the stage.
Yeah.
And they just literally reversed it.
Yeah.
And you had actors stop, freeze in time, and then they just reset the scene.
Yeah.
And do it over again.
Yeah. Which I could
Which
imagine.
is effective.
It's very effective.
That was very well done in Hamilton, too.
Very hard to do, too, because you have to remember every movement that you just made and then just reverse it. But yeah, I thought it was more magical to see it with the lights, and since this is supposed to be a magical play, I would like it every time that they portray that magic in a clever, cool kind of way.
Before we wrap up here, I do want to note, because I don't think we've mentioned it actually on the podcast yet, but if anyone has heard, Tom Felton is coming back to reprise his role as Draco Malfoy.
Yeah.
But just as the adult version in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
He seems very excited about it.
He seems very excited about it. A lot of his fellow actors that were in the original movies are very excited about it. I think Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius, said he would be there front row first night supporting him.
Yeah.
So that will be an interesting thing. I would love to go and actually see Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy, the older Draco Malfoy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be amazing at it.
Yeah. I mean, he was the character, so he knows how it feels to be Draco at any age. You know? Like, and plus, they're now the age that their characters are.
Pretty much.
So it's like I literally have lived the life of Draco Malfoy through the movies and now the stage play.
And of any of them, I feel like Tom Felton has...
Oh, he's such a Harry Potter fanboy.
He's hung on to a lot of that Harry Potter vibes and goodwill more than any of them have.
Yeah.
And that's cool to see that he still has such an affection.
It is nice to see them get such joy out of their characters and have the same nostalgia that so many of us Harry Potter fans have. Because that was a very important part of his life. Growing up, it's your adolescence and then your early teenage years and stuff. It's like, that shapes you. So that's really cool.
We will wrap it up here. And thank you all for listening. And again, like I said, interact with us by leaving a comment on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify.
All the things.
All of our socials can be found at Hogwarts a Pod. Give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or any spot you're listening. That helps us grow the podcast even more. And it's grown to a point that I couldn't believe it ever got to, but we can keep going.
Yeah.
And that's cool too.
Yeah.
So that 5-star review does really, really help. And participate in those polls because I love looking at the poll result. And they've remained open for a very, very long time. So if you missed a poll on one of our previous episodes, go back and vote on it. That's an option for you. But we will leave it here. Thank you all for listening. And we will be back soon with another episode. Thank you for listening to Hogwarts, a podcast. If you like what you've heard, please click the subscribe button on your preferred podcasting app and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Hogwarts a Pod.